Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Nate.
I'm Kim, and this is Amuse Goose. You can follow us all the places at Amuse Goose Pod.
How was your day today, Kim? What'd you do?
I worked a lot today, so that was a thing.
Well,
What about you?
That's good that you finally worked. You don't usually do that.
I know.
So that's good.
I don't.
Good. So like work,
like to not
actual work, or is this like your made up work?
No, I was actually like sweating. I was
Sweating.
actually sweating at the business. I had to put on 5 wine kits today.
5
of them. Mm-hmm.
Is that a lot?
That is a lot. That is a lot. Every once in a while, we have like a 3 kit day, but today was a 5 kit day, so that's a lot.
It's
and
good.
Each kit, 23 liters of wine.
It's good for business, right?
It's great for business. Thank the Lord.
What's a wine kit? Like, how do you make? Do you have to step on the wines, like on the wines, on the grapes?
Thankfully, the grapes come pre-stepped on, pre-smushed in grape juice form at varying. The kits come in various levels, and they come with various amounts of juice. So
there you
I'm
have
doing
it.
a terrible job at explaining what a wine kit is. So, do we want to talk about our topic of the day, because it kind of has to do with my business in a way?
You wanted to be a wino when you grew up.
I did want to be a wino. So today we're going to talk about what we wanted to be when we grew up and what actually happened in our lives that led us to this point.
Terrible things.
I know. So I know you might want to get to know us a little bit better. So this is kind of a peek inside. Nobody wants to get to know Nate better. They already know him.
Nobody wants that.
But everybody wants to get to know me. So let's allow them the opportunity. So Nate, what did you want when you were a young whippersnapper? What did you? I can't. I can't remember you that much as a young whippersnapper.
Well, we didn't.
Other than being
we didn't
foolish.
Really meet each other. Mm-hmm.
But what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a cop. That's the only thing I wanted to be, like, growing up. There was nothing else that, like, really stood out to me. Like, that's it. I had no other focus. I had nothing else that I wanted to do outside of being a police officer. And that was a terrible way to go about things, because I am not a police officer.
What?
What? Well, I mean, people don't know.
Brand new information.
People don't know. That's why we're doing this. I am not a police officer, and I cannot fine you for not wearing your seatbelt. So you're safe if you're not wearing your seatbelt around. I might scold you though, because it's safety first. But yeah, no. So growing up in New Brunswick and like on the East Coast, the way you could go about being a police officer, at least at the time, I don't know what it is now, because obviously I have no aspirations to do that job anymore. I think I kind of dodged a bullet there. You had to go to PEI. If I remember correctly, I think it's Holland College. It was like a 6-month course. It was like $20,000 at the time. That was like back in, who graduated, 2003? And like just hearing $20,000 was terrifying, because I would have had to have moved to PEI by myself, 20 grand in debt, and then there's like no guarantee that obviously you're going to be a cop, right? You got to go to school, even if you pass and you graduate and all that stuff. You're
not necessarily offered a job.
Yeah, like you have, like most places, most schools, right? It's kind of how it works. And then I found out about Ontario and how it works here, and it's a little bit different, where you go and you apply for a police service that you want to apply for, and then you got to go through and you do the testing for them. And if you pass all the testing, then you can have an interview, or like a first interview and then a second interview. And if you go through those steps and you interview for these police services, then and you're successful, then they will send you to school under their like care, essentially. Like you work for them in a sense, like they are going to pay you a salary while you're in school, which is huge. You still have to pay for the school yourself, but you're getting an income while you're doing it.
Right.
So that was kind of the way that I wanted to do it. But I think I kind of regret not looking into other things because, like I said, I'm not a cop, and the job I'm doing now I don't really care for at all. Like I've learned a lot of things. Technically, I'm like a heavy equipment operator. I got my my trucking license, so I can drive tractor trailer. I can operate a lot of different pieces of heavy equipment. Just not happy doing it. It's not very rewarding for the company that I work for. The pay isn't that great. It's not very rewarding work. And I've never had a job where it's like, I love my job. That's what I want. That's, what I would like to find. And I'm still looking for that. But how about you?
It's okay.
What did you want to do?
So I had a wide variety of things. I think when I was a little, we grew up in the 90s. What were some popular movies? Free Willy, Mermaids. What was some other ones? So I wanted, like every little girl in the 90s, I wanted to be a marine biologist.
I thought you were going to say you wanted to be a whale.
I've already achieved that, Nate. I'm already there. I'm living my best life here. That was, I think, in elementary school, marine biologists, like all the little girls wanted to be marine biologists. And then kind of in a more realistic sense, I think I really, middle school, high school, I really wanted to do archaeology or like anthropology. I have a weird sort of obsession / affinity for ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, like the ancient civilizations. But the problem with that being in New Brunswick in Canada is that
there's not a lot of Egyptians there.
There's not many Egyptians here. We do have, there's lots of, there is in Fredericton at the University of New Brunswick, Fredericton, there is an anthropology program there because we do live in an area with a lot of native arthropods. But we were an area that was very, there were a lot of early settlers here in this sort of river valley basin along the St. John River, obviously, because it was a source of food and stuff for early people settling this area. Not only that, did we have that population, so you can do archaeological, anthropological digs sort of in this area. But St. John, the city that I live in, is Canada's first incorporated city. So when the Loyalists came over from England, Ireland, a lot of them settled in this area very, very early on. 1867, I think, was... Can you tell I'm like a bit of a history? Nate's falling asleep. For those of you listening at home, I can see Nate on the camera, and he is falling asleep on his microphone.
It's very soft.
So I wanted archaeology, anthropology, which is just the study of ancient civilizations, not necessarily in a physical way. It's like finding what you dig up and figuring out what society was like. So I kind of wanted something to do with that. I'm just making things up at this point. That's kind of the direction I wanted to go in. I own a wine store now. So really,
close. You drink enough, you can kind of, I know, figure out what it was like to be drunk like back then. They drank wine back then too, right? So you're sharing like a commonality.
They did. Yep, they did.
Cool.
I love watching ancient Egyptian documentaries and stuff like that.
I'm glad you finished that. Okay.
Porn, also porn. Just kidding.
Just kidding, kids. Just kidding, kids.
Just kidding. So I guess neither of us really, but saying that neither of us really got to where we thought of that we would be as kids. I think as children, you have a bit of a false sense of what adulthood looks like, obviously, but also what those jobs might like in the realistic aspects of those jobs that you may not be suited for. Like I love the water and stuff, but a marine biologist is not my thing anymore.
That sounds like absolute hell for me, being out in the ocean.
Really?
And like I grew up next to it. I admire it. I do not like what's in there. I don't like the things that are in there. You imagine being in the ocean? You got like sharks?
I would want to be in a submarine.
Yeah. What color would you color it?
Like yellow for sure. I'm also a Beatles fan, so yellow, definitely.
Typical. You know what actually scares me more than sharks, though? Humboldt squids. They're terrifying.
Are those the giant ones?
No. These are like the ones like they find a lot in the Pacific Ocean. I think they're more prominent there. And they're like super aggressive.
Do they sting?
No, they got like their little beaks, like they'll bite and stuff.
Ooh,
like divers have been attacked.
Beaks.
Yeah. I mean, all the squid and I think octopus all have that kind of beak thing. I don't know too much about octopus, but I know the squid have like that bird beak thing.
Yeah.
And I was watching the Discovery Channel the one time, and they're talking about Humboldt squid, and I'm like, oh yeah, great, like, new fear unlocked, because like they have, and this is years and years ago. I don't know if things have, if they've died because of global warming and they've died down a little bit, or if there's more of them. But they would almost swarm, and there would just be like so many in the water, and they just get like super aggressive, and like they could like start almost like a feeding frenzy type of thing, like when there's like food and stuff, and they just get crazy and grabby, and
I don't like that.
And I don't like that at all. Like, it freaks me out. I don't even like being in like dark water in like a lake.
Me neither.
Right?
I don't like swimming over my head in like in the ocean.
Lake.
No.
Ocean water. It's just, you can't see what's going. Even clear water when it's like over my head, and I know if it was clear and I knew it was like it's a fresh lake, like there's no gators, there's nothing like that to worry about, which, up here we don't really worry about that. And if it was crystal clear, I'm fine. That's no problem. Yeah. No problem. The ocean, clear ocean, doesn't matter. I know they're there. They're just waiting. Mm-hmm. Bunch of jerks. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I would definitely do a submarine. I don't know that I would be able to like scuba dive and stuff, but I also really enjoyed Titanic. Also as a, tween. Yeah. And I wanted to go down with Robert Ballard to the wreck. I wanted to look at Titanic down there. And I mean, that's so totally not realistic. But
I will watch that on a screen, because that's all you're looking at it in the submarine. You're looking through a tiny little window, if like you can even manage that, or it's on a screen. I could look at a screen here in my home, where there's no risk of imploding,
right?
Or not even making it far enough to implode, and then it ripped open. Now you have to evacuate, and it's freezing cold water, and there's a shark.
There's a shark eating my face.
That's exactly how it would go down. You cannot convince me otherwise.
But you know what you could do?
Kill the shark.
Yes, but also
bite the shark before the shark bites me.
It's a great idea. I once heard that you could punch a shark in the nose, and that would make them.
Have you ever tried to punch underwater?
No. It
would be such like a
very
gentle,
labored punching.
Bap. It would be like such a light, like almost like a push. You'd be pushing the shark's nose, and he'd just be like, "Don't do that." Now I never thought about that. I'm really gonna bite you now because you attacked me.
Because you just booped me.
Yeah, don't boop my snoot. It's full of very sensitive sensors.
I did not consent to be booped today.
Yeah.
So now I bite you. But what I was going to say was, did you know that National Geographic has a whole app on the Oculus, on the Meta VR headset. Yeah, so you can totally go on all these expeditions on your VR headset. So what if? Oh my God! What if I could go to the Titanic in VR? Because I went to the International Space Station. I did. I went there on my VR headset, and I also went to Anne Frank's house on my VR headset.
Did you knock?
I did.
You just walk in.
Well, it let me open the doors. And you can go all around, move all around the International Space Station and see out the little peepholes and stuff.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's so cool.
That's cool. I'll have to look that up. Maybe the kids will like that.
Yeah, I think they would. My kids really liked the International Space Station because you're in zero gravity and it feels really weird. I had to sit down. I couldn't stand up doing it because
you just float around.
So odd. Because visually you're just floating, and then it VR has this weird way of making you feel like you're right there. That's what it's supposed to do. But I had to sit down. Immersion. Even the sounds.
Did you ever think about being an astronaut as
no,
like a career choice? Like, I want to be an astronaut. Didn't even think like, hey, that would be cool.
No. I mean, I suppose it would be cool.
See, I would take being an astronaut over like doing like deep sea diving, like a master diver thing, because it's like, okay, so say you're a master diver, whatever, you're out in the ocean and like you're on your boat and like a storm comes in and you crash this, that, whatever. Now you're stranded at sea. Now you're just floating there in a constant state of anxiety of what just touched my leg? What's this? What's that? I'm going to die. I'm going to dehydrate. But in space, if there's a catastrophic error, you're dead. You just don't exist anymore, and it's over.
You just poof.
That's it. No anxiety. You just get it over with. Just straight to the death machine, and everyone's happy except for maybe your family.
Yeah,
mostly you.
Maybe they might even be happy. But apparently, to be an astronaut, they do some training,
water stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that. I wouldn't do it.
No.
I think I'm a little bit claustrophobic, to be honest. I don't think I could actually be in any type of like real tight space. I think my brother messed me up when I was a kid. Be like,
just like trapping you in things.
Just sleeping bag. Yeah, wouldn't let me out. Stuff like that.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, he was a dick. We're good now, but he was a dick. He was not nice to me.
I never did that to my sister.
No, your sister wounded me though.
She did. So Nate is the youngest child.
I am. I got two brothers and a sister.
Yeah, and I am the oldest child. I have one sister.
She looks the oldest too.
I don't. All the Botox. Ooh, all that Botox.
It's mostly plastic now.
It's not even my real face anymore. Like, it's just like an entire facial implant.
Yep. What was the other thing I was going to do? Like, I did float the idea of trying to join the military. It wasn't really like a dream of mine, but I almost did that when I was younger. Before I moved to Ontario, actually, because I was floating the idea of the police thing, and then I was also floating like, joining the military. Wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, and military was easy. Back home, there wasn't a lot of work at the time. So I almost did that. And then I don't know her rank. I want to say like staff sergeant, whatever, recruiter lady, like lost my paperwork. And I remember what a pain in the butt all that paperwork was to fill out. And as a kid, like I was only 18. Yeah, I was 18 when I filled that out. It was very daunting because I never really had paperwork like that before in my life. So I was just like reading through it, and it was like a huge stack. And I filled it all out, and I brought it to her at the barracks. And we talked, and like I put it on her desk, and we were chatting, and she was holding it in her hand when we were talking. And then like like a month goes by, month and a half. I'm like, oh, I guess, I don't know, maybe I didn't get selected. Like I failed something. I wasn't, good enough, whatever. And she called me and she's like, hey, but backtrack like a step or two here. I had then decided, okay, I am going to go to Ontario. I am going to, try to do this policing thing. And then, like, I don't know, a couple weeks later, she had called me and being like, hey, Nathan, it's so-and-so. Just wondering when you're going to drop off your paper. I'm just following up. I'm like, what do you mean?
We literally had a conversation.
What do you mean? I dropped it. I gave it to you. It was in your hand. Well, I don't think so. Like, I can't remember what she said, like basically calling me a liar. Like, no. I'm like, we talked. I was in your office for like 15 minutes. We were just chatting. I said, you took it from me. You were hanging on to it when we were talking, like just kind of like one of those things. You're handed something, and now you're just hanging on to it instead of putting it down. Yeah. And she's like, oh, well, it's gone. Will you fill them out? I'm like, no, I've moved on. So I think she was so mad. She did not even say goodbye, nothing, like didn't try to be like nice about it, just hung up, just click. I'm like, wow, I guess I dodged a bullet there. But that was one thing.
A literal and a figurative bullet.
Yeah, no kidding.
I could see you in the military.
Yeah, I just don't know. I'm too goofy. I like to joke around a lot.
But you have a good friend who's been with the service for, since we graduated high school. And it
was the one I was going to kind of join with. Yeah, I did a couple other things, but that was pretty much it. But now he can retire. I think he said like 13 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
no.
Yeah. I have 23 years, so he's got me beat by like 10 years.
However, some of the things that he's had to deal with, some of
it's not an easy life.
No. So he's had a few trips overseas that really affected him. So, I think it's kind of all happens for a reason, I guess, right? Like you went in a different direction that, and kind of pivoted, and you're not where you thought you were, that's why you went out to Ontario. Didn't quite work out that way, but things sort of, you got two great kids, and you wouldn't have had those two great kids had you not gone there. So
yeah, exactly. Everything kind of worked out in the end. I'm in a certain place, and I got into doing like that live streaming thing for fun, which led to me meeting my wife and a bunch of new friends that you and I share together. Like, we have a really, really good group of friends that we met through like content creation and live streaming. And then obviously I met my wife back when, if any of you are listening and you like video games and like live streaming and stuff like that, it was a platform called Mixer that Microsoft had created. Oh, the golden days. They did a really cool job.
RIP Mixer. Yeah, they did a fantastic job. It was great while it lasted.
Yeah, and that's where I ended up meeting my wife. We started chatting and whatever. But that, I think a big part of that was because I was living here, working where I was working, and kind of got into something because of the people that I had met along the way. So it was kind of cool how all of that worked out. But I've had a lot of jobs, like a lot of jobs. Have you had a lot of jobs growing up? Like, would you say you had a lot?
Yes, I would say so. I did a lot of like retail. At
like a bunch of different stores.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. I was at quite a few different stores. My very first job was at a pharmacy.
What were you doing there? That explains a lot, actually. Like, you should see her pupils right now.
You know
just
this.
Just kidding.
Because you went to prom with one of my coworkers.
Oh, well, I actually forgot that you worked there, though.
So, yeah. That was my first job. Was there.
Bringing that up, I forgot that she worked there until you just mentioned it. I'm like, wait, she worked? Oh, she did. Yeah, I remember because I went in the one time and she was. Yeah, I remember.
You did,
yeah.
and I was there, and I was like, "What are you doing here?
Yeah,
Get out!"
Yeah, that's funny.
No, I won't sell you drugs, Nathan. What?
What was your job there?
Oh,
assistant?
Both of us were just like cashiers.
Oh, okay. You just like the lackey.
Yeah, I mean, we were in high school, so like.
Yeah, because I'm like, that's too young to be like an assistant, right? Like you have to go.
We were just cashiers there. Every once in a while, like if the pharmacist was super slammed, they'd be like, "Hey, can you come and like just help us count out like bottles of." Yeah, but it would always
illegal
be like
activity.
Tylenol. It would always be like Tylenol. Like it would always be like very low. They'd just be like, "Can you grab me 4 bottles of Tylenol?" Sure. And then they just like kind of, so they wouldn't have to run and get all the stuff. Like we would just bring it to them.
Yeah. Taste tester. Hey, does this taste like Oxy to you? Or is this, I think I might have mixed them up. You taste this one for me real quick. What does it taste like to you? It's good.
But then after that, I did a couple clothing stores. A call center that was soul destroying. I think we all, like, especially around this area, we all sort of did the call center thing. I know you did.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Like that. Yeah. Outbound call centers are.
Oh no, I was inbound.
Probably. Mine was out.
Oh.
That's probably. It was in and. No, it wasn't all inbound. With some minor outbound, but it was catalogs. It was Eddie Bauer. That's where I worked. Oh my
God, yes, that's where I worked.
Yeah, Eddie Bauer, Spiegel.
Yeah, Spiegel, Newport News.
Yeah, those 3 are what I was trained on. But I was like, Eddie Bauer was like my main. I didn't know you worked there.
Yeah, I worked there after you.
Oh,
I worked there through university. You had just left, I think.
I left. Yeah. Yeah, that was an awful. That's where I got the
the ear
when
thing.
I walked to work and the ear thing. And I got the frostbite on my ear, and my supervisor. So like I walked up to him and I'm like, "Hey, I got to go to the hospital." And he's like, "Why? What's wrong?" And I showed him. He's like, "Oh," like he reacted like, "Oh my God!" And he's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Next question: do you have any sick days?" I'm like, "No, I'm part time. I don't have sick days." What do you mean? Well, I'm gonna have to write you up. I'm like. Yeah. You want to write me up? You can. I said, we'll have a discussion with like HR later that you basically threatened a write-up when I'm having a medical emergency. I don't want to call it a medical emergency, but there was potential that I could have lost my ear. So I don't know what you classify that as. But I'm just like, I'm done here. Like, that was the last straw for me. It was such a negative place. Like, everyone was so terrible. Miserable. Yeah. So poorly run.
On more than one occasion, sat outside in my car before my shift and cried because I had to go in there. Yeah. I can remember I was in university. I think I was in first and second year, probably. I maybe lasted 6 to 9 months there. I can't remember, but I was on the student schedule, which was 6 days a week.
Like 4-hour shifts or something, or
6-hour shifts.
It's almost full time. Well, that would be full time hours if you're working 6 hours a day.
That was the student. That was their student schedule because they were 12-hour shifts normally.
I didn't work 12s.
I'm pretty sure. I thought
they were
12s. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I was part-time though, so maybe that's why. Like I did 8-hour part-time shifts. Yeah. I think I did like 3 shifts a week or something like that. 8 hours.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was like 6. And this was a little later when they started getting like super, super busy. And we had to do mandatory overtime. And I went something like 20 odd days working every day. And my mom was like, and I was like, I was crying every day after work, like, because you know what it's like when people are catalog sales, you think that's an easy thing, but like the number of
nasty people.
Yeah, people who were just nasty. And then the pervs. I mean, they were kind of funny, but like
very weird.
It was really, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I would never, I don't think there are very many call centers around here anymore, but it used to be quite the industry in St. John, New Brunswick.
Yeah, go old call center town. But this is fun, reminiscing on old jobs and stuff. I think we should carry this into our next episode because we're pretty much we're there. We're out of time.
Okay.
Yeah, gotcha,
so
listeners. Gotcha.
Yeah, I guess everybody, you're going to have to come back for the next episode. That will be episode 3. You can check us out on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find us on social media at Amuse Goose Pod. And come back and hang out with us again.
Please come back.
Okay, bye.
Bye.